Graham Matthews, Bleacher Report, fan-sided Daily DDT. My man, how you doing?
Doing well, Randy. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, doing good. Listen, man, I keep it real. But the anxiety is up. You know, very rare we get a current active participant on a roster to come on the show with us. For those who don't know, she's been on every podcast known to man for the last 2 months, promoting this her book, The Last Hart Beating, and I just finished it last night as if I was doing a book report for school. So we waited to the very last minute, and overall a great book. You get highs and lows, you laugh, you cry, you get very emotional. And for those who don't know who I'm talking about, we are talking about the one and only Miss Nattie Neidhart in the building. How we doing?
I'm good. Thank you guys so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. By the way,
Nope.
I trust me, I wish I could do every damn podcast under the sun, but the thing is that with WWE, they're very, very like, they're like the Louis Vuitton of
Mhm.
companies. So
Yeah.
they want me to have the Louis Vuitton experience. So just consider yourselves a
Makes
Louis
sense.
Vuitton. Because
Appreciate it.
we definitely are very selective about wanting the best, since I'm very high maintenance. I'm a total diva.
Yes.
So just consider yourself very, very lucky, because
I mean,
not
listen.
everybody got it. Not everybody got to do this.
Yeah,
So you guys are the lucky
absolutely.
ones.
Well, we
Thank you.
definitely appreciate it. And from seeing the podcast you've been on, you're a big Louis Vuitton fan, so it works. It works.
Love my Louis. I love my Louis. I love my Persian cats. I love my
Mhm.
champagne. You know. I mean, I also love just throwing down in the dungeon as well with no air conditioning. So there's that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Um, I was notified before we got on that you are breaking news. Your book is now on the best sports books of 2025 from Barnes and Noble. Before we
Yes.
even get into that, how do you
Yes.
feel about that accomplishment?
It's great. I mean, it's the only wrestling book in that list, which is incredible because it's the thing with my book is that it's I'm a wrestler, I'm a performer, I'm a superstar in WWE, as we they call us. But it's the book is so much more than just wrestling, because you guys know I love
Mhm.
wrestling. I love wrestling, and
Yeah.
I'm a big, I'm a fan as much as I am a talent in WWE. I'm actually a fan at my core.
Hmm.
But like, the book is not a book about wrestling, and I think that's what's really hooking people, and that's why the book is it's resonating with so many people, because they're reading it and they're going, oh, they're seeing themselves in the book.
Mhm.
It's not really a book about like, oh, I had this match and this is what I did on this
Yeah.
show and this is what I did. The wrestling is just kind of the backdrop, but the book is about relationships, and people are reading it very, very fast.
Yeah.
um they're reading it in like a day, because I wrote the book to be a page turner, so that people literally, once you get through the first chapter, you want to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
It's there's like a storyline in the book, because my journey and over my life is really read like a storyline. So people
Yeah.
are reading it very fast. It's a side of me. There's a lot of gripping, very revealing stuff that I've never ever shared before.
Mm.
But what I'm really proud of is that the book is not exploitive at all. It's not scandalous. It's not a tell-all. It's not exploitive. I think one of the best compliments I got from somebody about the book, somebody that read the book, they said to me they felt like when they were reading it, they were just talking to a friend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I was a friend that was just kind of like we were just chatting. And I did Stephanie McMahon's podcast just recently, and when I
Yeah.
was doing
Mhm.
her podcast, I told her, I said, she and Elise do the podcast together. I said, the danger zone of Steph's podcast is I felt like I was just talking to a friend. And
Yeah.
so I think that's why I say it's a danger zone, is because you just get so comfortable because it's just a friendly conversation. But again, like, those are the best conversations. It's when you don't really think anybody's listening. You get
Yeah.
Yeah.
the real, true, authentic, side of people. And so
Yeah.
again, I wanted that to really resonate in my book. And
Mhm.
people are seeing themselves in the book. They're reading it and they're seeing themselves in the book. Whether it's John Cena reading the book, whether it's Bianca Belair reading the book. One of my family members, she read the book. Her dad is Bret Hart.
Mhm.
And she read the book and she's like, Nattie, I just feel like I'm looking into a mirror. So it's been touching people so much in such different ways.
Mhm. One more before I let Graham chime in. How has the book tour been? I know you've been doing different cities, countries, meeting different people from all over the world. What has the feedback been like from fans that met you in person or social media, your peers, your coworkers? How has the feedback been so far since the book came out back in October?
The feedback's been incredible. People are loving the book. I haven't gotten anything negative from anyone. The only little tiny bit of critique has been that people want more. They're like, we get to the they're like, we get to the end and we just want more. Like my husband said he was sad when he finished it because he's like, oh, I just wanted to keep reading it. Because and
Yeah.
it's funny because TJ told me, TJ and I've known TJ since I was 10 years old. And
Yeah.
I met him when he was 12 and I was 10. And he was friends with my cousin Ted. They went to school together. They were in second grade together. And I've known TJ since he was a kid and vice versa. And so TJ said to me, he's like, I thought that I knew your story. He's like, because I've grown up with you and I've known you your whole life. Like we're very, very, very close. He's like, I had no idea like that you were gonna lay it out this way. He's like, it just felt like a very fresh perspective that I like. He is the closest person to me, and he did not know that I was gonna do a book like this or share my story
Yeah.
like this. Like he said he was shocked when he was reading it because he said it was nothing that he expected. And that's coming from the person that's closest to me. So when somebody
Mhm.
says, "Hey, I don't need to read your book. I already know your story." My husband didn't know the story. He was shocked when he read it and he said that he wanted to really take his time reading it. He felt like it was like a nice, he described it as like he's like eating a really good dessert that he just really wanted to like savor and enjoy. He
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
got sad. He said he got sad when he got to the end because he felt sad that it was over.
Yeah.
And so people are wanting more, but there's good news. And that I can't share here, not yet,
Mhm.
but there will be more stuff coming. So stay tuned, buckle up.
All right. You go ahead.
Yeah,
I
no,
wish
just
I
kind of
could
going off
share it.
that.
Trust me, I would. You guys would be the
No, it's
first to
all
know.
good. It's all
It gives
good.
us something. It gives us something to look forward to. So
Yes,
that's
Right.
great
yes.
news. But
People are
just kind
loving
of going
it.
off of what you said, how difficult was that process for you to be as open and as transparent as you were in this book? I mean, especially if there was things in there that even TJ didn't know while reading it.
Yeah.
Was it like almost like a therapeutic experience? How was it for you writing it, and how you kind of process those emotions and whatnot?
I think that's a great question. I mean, in all honesty, like writing the book, there were moments that I was writing the book that it like scared the shit out of me because I was so scared of putting certain things down on paper that I was like, people are going to say, they're going to judge me. They're going to judge this person that I'm talking about. They're going to make this exploitive. This is going to be a headline. I don't want to
Yeah.
look like I'm being scandalous, but I really want to tell my story. So
Mhm.
I had a lot of fun writing it, and it was very, very therapeutic. But there was sleepless nights where I'd wake up in a panic, like in a hot sweat, like in the middle of the night, going, "I can't write that. I can't put that down. I'm too scared to like say that because
Yeah.
I don't want this person to be mad at me. I don't want this person to misinterpret it. What if even some of the stuff that I shared about my dad and my relationship with my dad, even though my dad is no longer physically here with us, I felt like I was betraying him by sharing it. And then what's funny is that now that everybody's read the book and they've read it, they've processed it, they've received it, I'm so happy that I shared everything that I shared because
Hmm.
it's my story and it's
Mhm.
what happened in my life, but so many people are reaching out to me saying, "Man, I'm going through the same thing with this person or my mom or my brother or my sister or my family."
Mhm.
um on Stephanie McMahon's podcast, Elise, the woman that hosts the podcast with her,
Yep.
she was on the podcast saying,
Mhm.
my mom is a recovering addict, and I went, like, she saw a reflection of herself, and she said that on the air, on the podcast. She said, she started crying and she's like, I saw everything that you went through with your dad. I went through it. I know it, I feel it, I understand it, and it was gripping. It was gripping because you can love someone so much and they can hurt you, but you can
Yep.
still love them. And that's the thing, is that my dad and I were extremely close. I was closer to my dad than anyone, maybe besides my mom. And my dad was like my hero, but my dad, he hurt me a lot emotionally. So it's as a kid, I struggled a lot to understand why he was doing the things that he was doing, why he was making the choices that he was making. And as a kid, I spent a lot of my life, like, growing up, even as a teen or an adult, going, why does he keep doing the stuff that he's doing? And does he just not love us enough?
Yeah.
Mm.
But the thing is that the love throughout the book was always there. Like there's so much unconditional love that I have for my dad, that by the time I got to the end of the book, I realized once I was able to discover more of what was going on with my dad, I had so much forgiveness for him. This book,
Wow.
writing this book allowed me to
Mm.
truly, fully forgive my dad for everything
Yeah.
that we had gone through as kids, because we did have a very hard childhood, and I had a great childhood, but because my dad was struggling with addiction and struggling with a lot of demons, kids at school, they were seeing my dad on television going, wow, he's like a big famous wrestler. And my dad was in his heyday with Brett as the Hart Foundation. They were doing
Hmm.
awesome stuff as a tag team, but people didn't realize the stuff that we were going through at home because my dad was struggling so much. So it was nice to be able to share that and have people say, man, I totally get it. I was going through the same thing. This was like my mom was an addict, or my sister was struggling with this, or my aunt had that, or my cousin had, like, everybody from every corner of the world has been reaching out to me with stories that are similar. And so that's why it was worth it for me to share a lot of the stuff about my dad, and to share stuff about, these, there's some very strong characters in the book that, like, again, they're just super relatable. So I'm happy that I shared it. It was not always easy to share it. And
Hmm.
I think at the end of the day, if other people can heal from it, the book is very powerful in the sense that I think you'll read it and
Yeah.
heal from it. Like
Yep.
Bianca Belair said that. She said that she said the book made her feel a sense of healing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Um, the cover, you have the SmackDown Women's Championship and the Divas title. Was that by design, or because you could have been anywhere in the world doing a cover, but you specifically picked those two titles to hold for the cover? Is there a reason why you picked that for the cover?
I well, I mean, a big inspiration for my cover was Bret Hart's book. If
Mm.
you have ever seen Brett's, Brett's cover, there's he's got two different covers for his book, but one of his covers was just a picture of him, like with his championship, and it was just a very stoic photo of him holding
Yep.
his title. And
Mm.
I told Brett that I was so inspired by the, like, simplicity of his cover, that I really wanted to have something similar, but like
Yeah.
me standing in a ring. So that picture of me on the cover is me in my dungeon. The dungeon that TJ and I have in Florida, that's us.
Mm.
That's me in the dungeon. And I wanted to have the Divas Championship on one side and the Women's Championship on the other, because I lived through both those eras. And
Hmm.
the Divas Championship was the first title that I won in WWE. And then when you get, that was sort of in the beginning of the book. And then towards
Mm.
the end of the book, the big, big, big arc of the story involved the Women's Championship. And
Mm.
I had spoken about this before, but when I first won the Divas Championship, I did not, in my heart of hearts, feel like I had earned it, that I was worthy of it. I didn't enjoy it. Like the second that I won that championship, all I could think about was when they were going to take it from me, or when I was going
Yeah.
to lose it, or when it was
Mm.
all going to be over. I didn't
Hmm.
just enjoy the moment because I was going through so much because of my dad and what my dad was going through at the time, that I was just dealing with trauma, personal trauma.
Yeah.
Whereas when I finally won the SmackDown women's title, in 2017, it was a year before my dad died, and there's a very powerful arc in the story again about that match. But I finally felt like I was worthy of it, and I finally felt
Hmm.
like TJ said to me, because I remember when the writers told me, they told me about a week prior, they, a little bit prior to winning the title, it was like, hey, you're going to wrestle Naomi at SummerSlam, and she's going to go on and wrestle other people. You're just a challenger for her. And I was like,
Hmm.
because I had already prepared myself mentally that I was
Hmm.
never going to win it, that they would never put the title on me. For some reason, they just didn't want me being a champion. And I had already resigned myself to that. So I was like, sure, sure, no problem. It's fine. I'm not expecting to win it. This is going to be a really good match. It'll be really, really fun. Then, right before the match, I was told that things had changed and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they wanted me to win the title. And so I looked at my husband and I was like, he was there backstage. And I said to TJ, I said, I can't believe that they want to put the title on me. Like, why do they want to put it on me? Like, what made
Yeah.
them change? What made them change their minds? And then
Yeah.
TJ and I had this very like heartfelt conversation where he said, Nattie, he said, haven't you put in the work? Haven't you helped everyone else? Haven't you put in the time? Haven't you paid your dues? Haven't you been a good girl? Haven't you done everything that everybody here has ever asked of you? He's like, you've never, ever, 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 ever let WWE down. So why not you? And so that
Right.
became a big theme. That became a big theme in my book, where people got to the end of the book and I wanted people to look at themselves in the mirror, whether they were a wrestler, whether they, like, no matter what it is that their vocation was or whatever. But when it comes to your dreams, I wanted people to go, why not me? Why
Yeah.
not me?
Yeah.
And so that was a real epiphany for me in my career, that like, why not me? Like, why can't I have everything that I've ever wanted? Why can't I be a women's champion? Why can't I? And so,
Yeah.
so that night that I won the title, I finally felt like I deserved it. And sometimes you just need someone to bring that out of you and say like, and Naomi really, she was a huge catalyst in bringing that out of me, because she was like, Nattie, you deserve this. And she, you know, when someone's losing a championship, you never know how they're going to be, like, you know, because they're losing a championship, so they're not going to
Yeah.
necessarily be thrilled. Naomi
Mhm.
was she was the complete opposite. She was so excited for me. She
Yeah.
was so happy for me. She wanted to give me everything. She wanted me to shine, and I've never ever ever forgotten it, because she understands what it's like to struggle and to feel like you're not good enough, and to feel like,
Yeah.
you know, there's tons of eyes on you. So that was just like a big, you know, big turning point for me in the book and in my career. And it's, you know, now I'm like sitting there going, now
Yeah.
in 2025, why not me? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. G. Well, my turn. Yo.
Yeah, no, I'll go real quick. Well,
My
just
fault.
going back to what you were talking about before, just being so introspective with like your family stories in the book and stuff like that, and the process of, emotional process about writing it and stuff like that, and just how refreshingly honest it is too throughout the entire book, which is great to see. Because you could have very easily, you've had such an illustrious career where you could have very easily, like, I won this title and it was great. I did this and I did that. But the behind the scenes stuff is so refreshing to hear about. And autobiographies, just in general, just fascinate me. With yours specifically, was there a process when it comes to whether it be the family stuff or like even the story about, you feeling like your job was in jeopardy after the whole TJ thing, which was amazing that you included that because you really didn't have to. Where you ask people for permission to include certain stuff or like give them a heads up, like, hey, I'm going to put this in my book, or is it just like they'll read it when I put it out there?
That's a great question. You're the only person really that's asked me that question.
Oh, thanks.
Um,
That's why he's here.
I I it's funny because I was struggling with, I've said this before, but I'm a recovering people pleaser. So
Mm,
but
yeah.
even when I was a kid, I just wanted to get
Yeah.
straight A's. I wanted to be the best student. I wanted to be the best kid. I've always been like, you know, just wanting to make everyone happy. And so when I
Yeah.
was writing my book, I was struggling with my book. I was hitting a lot of crossroads where I was like, I can't put that in. This person's not going to like that. I can't write this. This person's going to be offended. I'm going to get, you know, I kept thinking like, I'm going to piss off this person. And I don't want this
Yeah.
person to think that I don't like them. And, oh, my dad, I don't think he wouldn't want me saying that. Or, you know, what was great is that I reached out to two people,
Mhm.
Becky Lynch and Bret Hart. And I was talking to them because they both had written, you know,
Yes. I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah.
best
Yeah.
selling books. And so I said to them individually what I was going through. And I was like, fuck, I just like, I'm like, I don't, they're the, what I need to include, it's important to the story, but I'm
Yeah.
scared of saying stuff that's going to hurt people's feelings or make people mad at me or sever relationships. I don't want to exploit anybody, but I have to tell this story from the realest, most raw and authentic part of my soul, pretty much.
Mm,
Becky said to me, she goes, just pour your heart onto the paper, write what you feel, and just let it breathe. And then you can always take stuff out, but just say what you want, feel what you
Yeah.
feel, and write it out. And then Brett said to me, he goes, Nattie, if you just write this book for you, write it for you. Just
Mhm.
mhm.
write it for you. He goes, you cannot go wrong if you just write it for you. Because he's like, you're not gonna make, you can't make everybody happy. And he's
Yep.
like, you're gonna, no matter what, you can't make everybody happy, but if you write it for you, at the end of the day, that's a huge, huge win. So Becky and Brett gave me this really great advice. I wrote the book. I spilled my guts, poured my soul out onto onto paper,
Yep.
and I let WWE read the book as a courtesy, and they were so supportive of the book. They couldn't have been, the company couldn't have been more supportive. And I was
Yeah.
like, because I'm a people pleaser. So I want like
Yep.
everybody to love it. The
Sure.
company, and I say this with so much like gratitude, WWE read the book. They gave me their full endorsement and they supported it from every single corner of the company.
Nice.
To helping me plan my book tour, to helping me promote the book, and just so many other things. So that was such a great feeling, and it gave me such a sense of like, okay, so they liked the book and they were supportive.
Mm.
Cody, I was on Cody's podcast talking about the book. I was on Steph's podcast talking about the book, and like it opened up so many powerful conversations. But it also showed me too that like the company has changed a lot.
Mhm.
They really really want me, they wanted me to share my story from a very authentic way, in a very authentic way, and they didn't they it's like, and also we have a rapport, we have a relationship,
Yep.
like the company trusts me and I trust the company, but like it's also because WWE is like my family. Like
Yeah.
I've been with WWE in January almost 19 years. In January,
Wow.
January 4th will be 19 uninterrupted years. So we have this
Crazy.
we have a strong relationship and a trust between each other, which means so much to me. But they did not make me take anything out. So
Mm.
they were like, we love it, keep it, awesome, let's run with it.
Yeah. There is a lot more stuff that I saw in the book that I did not know. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But it's funny you mentioned Becky Lynch 2 minutes ago, because she's been on this downward spiral about losing her Intercontinental Championship. She's blaming everybody, known to man, you, Maxxine. She was just at the Lakers game on, I want to say, Wednesday.
Yeah. A few days ago.
Don't know
Yeah.
if you saw it, but she's
I
wearing
did.
a shirt that's she's wearing a shirt saying the real IC champ.
I
She's
saw
still
her,
going for it.
she's unraveling.
Hmm.
I think unraveling is an understatement. She's spiraling out of control, and I'm looking at this the tweets. I'm like Becky's Becky. She does great work, but the lady you've been training in Maxxine Dupri, the current women's intercontinental champion, Nattie. I gotta tell you, I gotta be real. From what I see on social, they are loving these dungeon
Vignettes.
vignettes. There's been 2 so far. I'm pretty sure there's more coming, but you gotta talk to us about whose idea was to film you two guys training in the dungeon, and just the feedback you've been getting so far.
Well, the feedback has been phenomenal. And so if anybody follows me on social, they know that I film a lot of my dungeon training. Because
Mhm.
it's it's just like I love documenting what we do. We have so many people. We have such a hybrid group of people that come and train with us in the dungeon. Everybody from Gabe Kidd to Miyu Yamashita to gosh, I'm just trying to think of all the people. Tons of people in WWE are training with us. I
Yeah.
won't. There's a couple secret names I can't reveal right now because there's going to be surprises soon. But
Okay. Okay.
but we get people in shape, and so it's not for the faint of heart. That's why I say it's not a school. It's invite only. And very much like what Bailey did with her Lodestone women's thing. She had to look and see who could come because there's so many talented people, but at the end of the day you can only fit so many people in one room.
Yeah.
But for me and TJ, we don't really, we've been running the dungeon for 5 years and our training is extremely intense. In the summer, we have no air conditioning. In the winter, we have no heat. I like it that way. It's just a bathroom and a wrestling ring. And I always say to
Yeah.
people, bring lots of changes of clothing, bring lots of water, and just be ready to pour your heart on the mat. If you don't bring your heart and show
Mhm.
me what you're made of, like if you don't bring your heart, I mean, there's people that come into my ring and they don't ever come back because I don't invite them back because I don't want to work with anybody unless you bring fucking heart and soul into my ring. And
That's
and
right.
that's the thing, is that my grandfather, when he started the dungeon in the 50s, my grandfather never charged a single person $1. And I'm not shitting on anybody that does charge money for wrestling schools, because people have to make a living. That's how they
Yeah.
make their money.
Right.
But
Mhm.
but for me, I wanted my dungeon, this new dungeon that TJ and I have, I wanted it to be like, I wanted it to be just like what my grandfather had, where he would train people, invite only. And my grandfather trained with everyone from Antonio
Mhm.
Inoki to Jushin Thunder Liger to, I mean, he trained some of the greatest pro wrestlers that ever lived, Dynamite Kid and,
Mhm.
the whole entire Hart family, amazing people, but it's invite only. So if you can't hang, you get eaten alive and you never, ever, ever get welcome back. So that was the thing
Yeah.
with Maxxine. I told her, I said, she asked me if she could train with me. I was very, very skeptical, because on the outside, you just see this beautiful Barbie doll. She's very beautiful. She's, she, she had never shown me what she was made of.
Yep.
Got,
Mhm.
got, got to training with her in the dungeon. She worked really hard in there with me. And I said to her, I said, I need you to show me that you can tap me out. And because my grandfather actually said that to my dad. I
Oh
actually have
wow.
a really good little story real quick. And I'm sorry, I've actually loved talking to you guys so much that I'm like super
No, don't worry.
engaged in this. But when
Appreciate
my
it.
Go ahead.
dad
Go ahead.
when my dad first met my mom, it was love at first sight. But my
Yeah.
grandfather, my dad was coming from the NFL, and he was a world-class shot putter before he ever got into wrestling. So when all of that ended for him, somebody told my dad, hey, you should be a wrestler. Long story short, he met my grandfather, but he met my mom at the front door of the Hart House, and he was just like, I have to date this woman, she's beautiful. Like, he fell in love with my mom, love at first sight. My grandfather caught wind of that, and my grandfather saw my dad, and my dad is built like a freaking tank. My grandfather got my dad down to the dungeon. My grandfather beat the shit out of my dad over and over and over and over and over and over again, because he wanted to
Mhm.
break my dad. He wanted to break him, because
Yeah.
he wanted to see what my dad was made of. And if you hear about these old dungeon training things, my dad had bloodshot eyes. My dad was getting choked out in submission wrestling holds. I mean, it was nothing short of abuse, but with submission wrestling.
Mhm.
So my dad one day caught my grandfather. Like, he ended up getting my grandfather in a sleeper, like a neck crank. And my grandfather tapped to my dad. It was like one of the first times my grandfather had ever tapped in his whole like life.
Mhm.
My grandfather let my dad date my mom, because of that situation, because my
Yeah.
dad
Mhm.
choked my dad caught my grandfather. So when I was training with Maxxine, and she was able to get that ankle lock on me, and she was able to like really, like, I was like, shit, this is exactly what I want in
Hmm.
Mhm.
training. Like, if Maxxine can make me tap in practice, like if we're going back and forth and we're sparring, like, now I understand that she's finally getting it. You know what I
Yeah.
Hmm.
mean? Like, she's finally, like, she's not just we're not just fucking around. We're actually, she's showing me that she's actually understanding and retaining the information, because I don't want to pour my heart and soul out with people and they don't get it. It's one,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and even Taker said that a few weeks ago. He's like, I hate when I give people advice and then they don't take it. And he's
Yeah.
like, I'll spend an hour giving them advice, and then they go in the ring and do something totally different. It's like, well, then why did you ask? So
Yeah.
I told Maxxine, I said, in all honesty, if you can't prove yourself to me in the dungeon, then I don't. I know we work together. I know you're a nice person, but your invite is going to be revoked. And so I love that the world could see these badass training sessions that we've had, and they're very physical. She
Mhm.
left me with a bloody lip. I gave her a black eye. Like, there's no hard feelings, but that's what I
Wow.
need.
Yeah.
I need that, and she brought that. So I was just super impressed with her. And that training, like I said, it's not for everyone, and that's why not everybody can train in the dungeon.
Mm. Before Graham chimes in, I think it's very important to mention the fact that these vignettes are serving two for one. What I mean by that is the fact that you're showing Maxxine as a badass, as someone that can be out there, be a true champion, true fighting champion. She's not the model person no more. Under your tutelage, she's gonna be a different person. At the same time, your Nattie character, that we saw at NWA Bloodsport, is now making it to TV, like a Raw, SmackDown, whatever. So now you're seeing both at the same time, and I think it's gonna be beneficial for both, because you've been getting a lot of praise for that character, but it hasn't been seen on main television. Now it's finally there, and there's still more to come. But at least for now, people are like, "Oh shit, we're getting Maxxine now, but it's only a matter of time before Nattie comes up and does something to her, for her, with her. We don't know, but she's gonna pop out very soon.
It has been so. It's been the reception has been so incredible. Like if after each vignette has aired, we were trending, and usually I get kind of scared when I'm trending because I'm like, shit, did I have a wardrobe? Did I have a wardrobe malfunction? Am I getting
Yeah.
arrested?
Yeah.
People have been loving the vignettes because it does serve two purposes. That's what I love about pro wrestling. I love about the industry. I love when both people can shine. I think about my favorite pro wrestling matches ever. And I think like you should never have something where you're like, I like that person. I
Yeah.
watched like Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, the Iron Man match. They both won. Sean realized his boyhood dream. Bret Hart came out looking like a god, a fucking monster. Like they,
Mhm.
or Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13 or whatever. Like I think about that match, and I think like both of them won. Nobody like you didn't watch that match going, man, Steve Austin's really tough. I mean, yeah, he looked tough, but like Bret Hart was a killer in that match too. There's
Yeah.
there's no reason why Maxine and I can't both win from this. Like I think that people are very intrigued. They want to see more Nattie because they've only really seen Nattie outside of WWE.
Yep.
True.
They've seen me in AAA. They've seen me in Reality of Wrestling. They've seen
Hmm.
me in GCW, Bloodsport, and they've seen me in NWA. So people are like, when are we going to get Nattie? When are we going to get Nattie? When are we going to get Nattie? And it's funny because I want to bring Nattie to WWE, but I'm also of the understanding that timing is very, very important.
Sure.
And
Hmm.
the timing right now may be better than ever, but I'm, with Triple H, I think, especially since he's the, creative director with WWE, he's very big, and I believe this in my heart of hearts. He is very, very big on storytelling. And I saw that firsthand when I first worked for him in 2014 in NXT. I had the match against Charlotte Flair. And it was the first time in my entire career that I got to have a near 20-minute match with an awesome story.
Yeah.
And the story is everything. And John Cena has said that. Even when John Cena was at the dungeon, he gave this like master class to all of us at the dungeon. He was like, you don't have anything without the story. If there's no
True.
story, nobody has anything. Even
Hmm.
like Gunther and Cena right now, it's like, I mean, Cena's about, you never give up, but whenever anybody's wrestling Gunther, it's like everybody gives up. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything is storyline driven. So I have so much faith that like when it's the right time to tell that story, we're gonna bring Nattie in a way that does Nattie justice. Because this character, this Nattie character, she's really been something that's been in the making for my entire career. But now
Hmm.
it's now is the now is the time. Now is the time. I don't think this Nattie character could have survived pre Triple H because I don't know, and I loved working for Vince McMahon. I absolutely loved working for him because he gave me so many incredible opportunities and I got to do so many
Hmm.
cool things. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I just don't know if Vince would have loved that Natty character, that gritty kind of from the dungeon, no makeup, very, very like she was. This Natty character is very, very different. She doesn't like weak people and she doesn't take shit from anyone.
That's right.
Natalya did what she had to do to survive.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've said this before, but Natalya has had an incredible career. Um, I've loved so much of the stuff that I've done as Natalya, but it took a lot for me. And it was actually when I wrote my book that I was able to look at myself in the mirror and go, I need to change. It's not that I don't like Natalya, but in all honesty, she's not working for me anymore. Like
Hmm.
Hmm.
I wrote my book and I was like, why don't you be the person that you always wanted to be? You always, always, always wanted to be this. So when I got that first opportunity to do GCW, I just poured my soul into the new character and I was like, this is what I want. This is who I am. Can I please be her?
Hmm.
And I just wanted to be her and I want to be able to bring her to WWE properly so that she's involved in an amazing story and she gets the justice that she deserves because like I said, this storyline has been, this character, that all of this has been basically building my entire career. So we
Hmm.
have to do her justice.
Correct. G, go ahead.
I think the coolest thing about what you just mentioned too about the different places that you've brought this Nattie character, I think you had said this elsewhere, is that wasn't it you that initiated that conversation? You were like, "Hey, can we try this in like Bloodsport?" And they were like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Okay,
Yeah,
try it." And then you were like, well, AAA, of course, WWE owns it now. And they're like, "Yeah, go for it."
yeah,
NWA, like that was kind of crazy to me because there's no current working relationship with NWA. You wanted to work there, they said yes, they gave you the blessing, and you had that match with Kenzie Page for the Women's
right.
World Championship, which was great too. I'm surprised, and I'm curious on your end if there's a desire there that we haven't seen you do anything with TNA yet, just because there's that working relationship. And granted, it's exclusive to NXT, but
Right,
I just feel
right.
like you'd be a great fit for that knockouts division, whether it be a one-off, a run, whatever. Is that conversation coming up at all on either end, or not yet?
I just think that there's so much interest in the Natty character from the stuff I did in Bloodsport with GCW, the
Yeah,
NWA stuff, the AAA stuff, the reality of wrestling, that I think that they're like, you know, when I talked to Triple H about first doing it, he was kind of like my biggest supporter with it. He was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Like, I like
yeah,
that. Let's
Mhm.
like I actually couldn't do. I wouldn't be able to ever do this character without his help with it,
hmm,
and that's a big part of it, because like I'm the first person I think in WWE history to build a character outside of the company,
while working there
and
too. Yeah,
yeah, like while working for WWE,
yeah,
I'm like I've been building her. I've probably done 6 7 shows as Natty. I think with
yeah,
AAA, maybe even closer to 8. I
yeah,
would love to do some stuff in TNA, but I also understand that they are working with NXT, so it's all, again, it's all about timing. It's all about
yep,
where who can present the best storyline. When I went to Bloodsport, I talked to Josh Barnett and I said, who was at that moment, like, who do you think is the best? And Josh was like, well, one of the people that I have my eye on is Miyu. She's
yep,
from Japan. And I was like, bring her, bring me your best. I went to NWA. I said to Billy Corgan, who is your best? And at that time, Billy was like, Kenzie, she's an ass kicker. She's a badass. She's awesome. She's scrappy. She's gritty. I said, good. Because and then I went again, Booker T. I worked with a girl named Promise Braxton.
yeah,
Mhm.
Promise is probably, I mean, she could fit in, and she could do great work at NXT. She's one of the best women I've ever been in the ring with. But I wrestled her for Booker T this summer, and she brought me to my limits. And then I wrestled I wrestled Masha Slamovich at Bloodsport during SummerSlam, and Masha
yep,
was a fucking badass. Like, she
Mhm.
was unbelievable. So, and then Fabi Apache, and doing some stuff at AAA. But like, I would love to do stuff at TNA as long as the story's there. But I do know that they're working closely with NXT. And shit,
yeah,
I would love to bring Natty to NXT.
yeah.
I would love to fucking get in Jada Parker's face. I would love to get in
Ooh.
JC Jane's face. I would love to go
Book it.
nose to nose with Blake
Mm.
Monroe and Headbutter.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing, is that I just don't know if these girls are ready. I don't know if they're quite ready for Natty. So
Maybe not.
yeah,
Mm.
seriously. Like, I
Okay.
mean, I need whomever I'm in the ring with to bring me their best fuck you. Because if you don't have that in you, I don't want to waste my time with weak people, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow. She's going after it.
Yeah.
I do got a few more. I don't know how much time you have left, but I'll get to these pretty quick.
JC Jane's gonna give me a text and be like, "What the?"
I mean, because you
Yeah,
mentioned
seriously.
Jada Parker, Jordan Grace. I mean, there's a lot of people you can
Oh
work with in
yeah. I mean,
NXT. It's like
J- there's so many
endless.
people, like, that's the cool thing. Sorry guys, I've
You're
absolutely
good.
loved our conversation. there,
Oh,
there's
thanks.
so many cool there's so many cool people that I like. That's the thing about this Natty character, is that she is brand new to the entire division. She's not faced anybody in WWE, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Natty hasn't faced. Natty is the fucking rookie of the year. If you like,
Yeah,
I said that.
seriously. Yeah.
No, I would like to see anybody else, any other woman in 2025 do what I did. Which I speak with complete confidence, because I did the work. Where I stepped outside of my comfort zone, which is, hey, you work in WWE, you get a paycheck every single week. It's a cushy little environment. You are, like, people could say, "Oh, she's comfortable." Well, I was
Hmm.
very uncomfortable. I was very, very, very uncomfortable getting a paycheck and not pouring my soul onto the mat. That's
Sure.
why I said, let me step outside WWE and let me see how I can reinvent, because this Natalya character, like I don't want to see her anymore.
Hmm.
I want to be someone different. Let me show you guys that what I'm feeling can work. And so by being able to do that, like I stepped out and worked for places that I wasn't really, I don't want to expose anyone, but like I didn't really make anything. I didn't make any money off of those places. Like, and I
Mhm.
didn't ask for any money. I didn't want any money. I didn't want to make a fucking penny off of any of those places. I wanted to go and build. I wanted to
Hmm.
work with the best women wrestlers that I could possibly work with outside of WWE to build this brand new character to bring her back to WWE.
Hmm.
And so, like I said, if I didn't have the support of the company, I wouldn't be able to do that. But I completely reinvented, and every single match that I've had outside of WWE has been fucking phenomenal. And I truly
Hmm.
believe that. And that's why people are talking, because it wasn't just a fluke at the first Bloodsport. It wasn't just like,
Right.
oh, you know, Nattie had this great match with Miyu. It's like, no, 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 no. Nattie had a great match with Miyu. Nattie had a great match with Kenzie. Nattie had a great match with Promise. Nattie had a great match with Masha. Nattie's having great matches in AAA, because I'm okay with saying that a big part of the magic is me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back to the book in 1 second, but you are a what, 17, 18-year veteran doing this?
I've wrestled in WWE in January for 19 years. And I actually started training in 2000. So this is my
Mm.
25th year in professional wrestling.
Wow. Congrats.
Okay, so you got on the main roster 0708, correct?
Oh, 08. Yeah.
Oh wait.
April of '08.
So what would and I'm not sure anybody asked you this. If not, great. What would 2025 Natty tell 2008 Natalya?
Stop trying to make everybody happy. Stop trying, literally just focus on what's going to make you happy. And it's not being rude, it's not being disrespectful, it's not being like, because trust me guys, there's a certain etiquette that you have to have, especially when you're brand new.
Yeah, of
But
course.
I heard Rhea Ripley talking. We were at this seminar. Bailey had invited me and Rhea and Bianca and several WWE girls to this
Yeah.
Lodestone seminar. And I heard Rhea, Rhea was answering questions, and she was saying, like, when I finally got the courage to just be who I always was, that's when I started doing my best work. And so takes like it takes courage to have to be yourself, but like Rhea really made so much sense when she said that. She's like, I just wanted to be me. I didn't want to
Hmm.
worry about what they wanted. I just wanted to be me. I wanted to embrace the music that I liked. I wanted to embrace the style of wrestling that I liked. And like, I feel like now, I think Triple H loves that. I think he wants the talent to really be authentically themselves. That's why you have such a wide, diverse roster. We have so many different women from every walk of life, not just, hey, you're really pretty, you're hired. It's, hey, you got to be able to go in the ring and kick ass. You got to be able to
Yeah.
Yeah.
show who you are. And the biggest thing too, the biggest thing that I wish I would have known when I was younger is to give myself grace. I would beat myself up if I made mistakes. I would overanalyze it to the death. I would think it was the end of the world because I'm such a perfectionist. Now I realize, like, we're all human. We're all just learning how to fucking fly this plane as we're building it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not linear. And WWE, we're year round. There's no, like, okay, it's a football season and we'll regroup in a few months. It's like it's live TV. So in the
Yeah.
past, especially when I was brand new, if I made a mistake, I would beat myself up about it. I would be crying. I would think it was the end of the world. And I wish I had given myself so much more grace when I was just starting, to not be so hard on myself. And
Hmm.
that's why I didn't have the courage to dive into this new role or this new personality or even try it. I didn't even think I could do it.
Yeah.
And then like I said, now I think with Triple H, he's so open to suggestions. He's so open to ideas. He's very, very collaborative. I can send Triple H a text or an email, or say, hey, I was thinking about this, or I was thinking about, I talked to him about music, and I was talking to him about vignettes, and I was talking to him about storyline ideas, and he's extremely collaborative, which, like, I love that. We need that, because everybody, I know me better than anybody else knows me. And so he
Yeah.
needs me to be able to show that to him, and then it's always better to have somebody pull you back than to push you forward. I would rather, especially
Yeah.
like when
Correct.
when people are training with me in the dungeon, um, like Gabe Kidd, for example. Gabe Kidd, when Gabe Kidd came to train with us in the dungeon, he just poured his soul onto the mat. And I was like, this guy is fucking phenomenal. But I would so much rather have that than watching him kind of just, casually sparring around. And I'm like, well, I don't really even know if he wants this. You know what I mean? Like I want people to pour their souls into everything that they do. And then we can always pull them back and go, that's too much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the biggest thing is just also kindness, because you can't take chances if you're scared. People don't work well in fear, if that makes sense.
Gee, what, I'm gonna go ahead or
Yeah, no, just one last comment, not really much of a question, but just kind of going off what you just said. I think it would have been easy to, like you said, just be comfortable and just keep doing what you're doing, especially knowing it works. I mean, you've been doing it for so long, you could have
Right.
just continued being Natalya. And also just the courage of going out there and doing what you did at Bloodsport. There's a chance that it may not work. And you know that going into it, it may not work. Obviously it did, but you could have done that thinking in your head, well, I don't want to try it because what if they don't like it? And I just took a risk on myself and I just made myself look like a fool or whatever, which you
Yeah.
wouldn't have, but you might be thinking that in your head, and you still went ahead and did it anyway. And it obviously worked because you know it would work, and it did. So, no, I just appreciate the risks. I think it's very inspiring, along with the book, just going full circle and,
Yes. Yes.
all the honesty too, especially in these media tours. You've been very honest, and I think that's been very obvious, and it's been very refreshing. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I've actually I feel like I can be really honest. Like I feel like I've been so supported, like so supported internally by WWE, by the fans, by my
Yeah,
family. Like my whole family came to my book tour, like my book
that's awesome.
signing. I did a signing in Calgary, where I'm from.
Yeah,
Brett came. Everybody in my entire family came to my signing, and it was like, the last time my whole family was together was when it was the Canadian Stampede in Calgary. It was that, remember that
wow,
match with
amazing match. Yeah,
in your house, the
ten
Mhm.
Canadian
man tag,
Stampede.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was the
'97.
last time that was the last time my whole entire family was together. And
that's
so
crazy.
this book tour, I said that to Brett. I was like, I'm so proud of like that we're bringing everyone together. You know what I mean? Brett helped me write. He wrote the introduction to my book, which is like the very first thing you read is what Brett wrote.
Yeah.
And like it's really brought my family together. And like I think it's important in life to take risks. I spent a lot of my life being scared to take risks. And I felt like,
Mhm.
and again, and going back to that Natalia character, she just was very safe. I wanted to make everyone happy. I wanted to make the girls in the locker room happy. I wanted to make Vince happy. I wanted to make my producers happy, my coaches,
Yep.
everyone. But then I realized, like, are you happy? Do you
Yeah.
feel happy? Do
True.
you feel fulfilled? And so in doing this new character, I was like, okay, the biggest thing is, if you're going to take a risk like this and you're going to take a chance on being your true authentic self, when the bell rings, you can't just rely on a cool spruced up vignette with cool video editing or whatever. You can't just
Yeah.
rely, you know what I mean? Like you can see sometimes when people do shit on social media, it's like, wow, that was badass. That was cool. Even our
When the bell
vignettes of
rings.
even with the vignettes of WWE is like, that was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing with this character is that when the bell rings,
Yeah.
that's when everybody's gonna feel it. That's when everybody's gonna
Yeah.
go, like, I want to make Undertaker jump out of his chair when he's watching me wrestle. I want to
Yeah.
make I want to make I want to make everybody go. I want the executives backstage watching me perform. I want them to look at each other and go, shit, I think we need to pull
Yeah.
Nattie aside and ask her if she's like just losing her mind in there, because this physicality is
Yeah.
so fucking badass.
Fuck
Like I
yeah.
Facts.
watch
Yeah.
I watch Ilya Dragunov, and I'm like, because Ilya is
Oh my.
trained with us in the dungeon, another guy.
Yeah.
He
Mm.
makes everything look so like, I believe that he and his opponent, whoever he's wrestling, I'm like, shit, they've got some beef. Because
Some
they
more than
Yeah.
got
Mike.
like,
Seriously.
Ilya with Ilya against JD McDonough. I watched that on Raw.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
holy shit. I sent Ilya a message. I was like, that was insane. Like, you guys just again left your soul on the mat. That's the thing about wrestling, is that it's
Mhm.
Yeah.
cool. It's very, very cool for me to have this new character, but when the bell rings,
Yeah.
I can't rely on a really cool vignette. I gotta be able to, this is live TV and you get one take. Show me your guts. And that's
Mhm.
Hmm.
that's that's what I've been doing outside the company, is just like, hey, I gotta fucking hit a home run. You gotta
Yeah.
bat, you gotta I gotta hit a 10 out of 10 on this thing. So and I plan on it.
Facts. I'll be good on time, Nattie. I don't want to hold you up.
Yeah, no,
So,
this is great. This is great. I can probably answer a
okay.
couple more questions, guys. I'm so sorry I've rambled on because I've just loved this conversation so much.
No, I appreciate your
Nah,
answers.
you're
This has been
good.
great.
Just a few things. I just to also prove that I read the book. I was like, there was a part, and I'm like, I gotta ask it because every time you go on a podcast, I don't think nobody's asked you this. So, it goes both ways because she's still active on the roster. The Bella twins. There's a portion in the book that you talk about the impact that they had on you because they taught you verbatim. They taught you about clothing, fashion, your look, energy, character, storylines, pitching ideas. Talking to people and being a self-made business woman. Talk about the impact the Bellas have had on you professionally, personally, and them just their impact on the whole sport as well.
Oh, I love the twins. We started together in WWE in like the first week. And, we were all just trying to figure it out together. Like, I had wrestled prior to getting to WWE. I'd wrestled in the dungeon. I wrestled in Japan. I wrestled for my family. But nothing is like wrestling for WWE, where it's full time and it's a totally different animal.
Yeah.
So the twins and I started the first week. They taught me everything I know about making sure that your gear looks amazing and you want to be able to cut a good promo and you want to be able to present yourself well and they were like you got to find a good accountant. You got to find they knew they were business women from the very first time that I met them. They were business women. Their mom is a businesswoman, so she has her
Mhm.
own company and they were always very, very smart about business. And so they taught me a lot about business, but we just had each other's backs from day one. And we can just lean on each other because at the end of the day, we're all just human. We all just want to fit in. We all want to make
Yep.
it. We all want to succeed. Nobody wants to go and have conflict in the locker room or conflict with our bosses or,
Right.
nobody wants to be we want people to love us that are watching us perform. So when you're in developmental, you're just like we were all making because developmental, you're not supposed to make a ton of money.
Mm.
And maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but when you get hired, or at least when I got hired, it wasn't like, hey, we're gonna throw a 7-figure a year contract at you because they need to you're in developmental. You're not up on you're still learning. You're
Yeah.
still I again, the company had to see is she coachable? Does she have a good attitude? Is she that's a big part of the process so they can actually see okay who is ready to take it to the next stage, and those are really great steps. So we were we weren't making a whole lot, but we were all loving it. I just fell in love with the girls from the first time I met them, and they've to this day that we just always have each other's backs.
Mm. Um, yeah, I agree because just seeing Nikki Bella back, she came back last year, and again, people who are going to say whatever on social media, but it's like Nikki and the Bella twins have had a great impact on the business. But it's like you're a fan, you like them, you hate them. That's part of what happens. But I'm like, once I saw that, it just kind of correlated because you guys came in at the same time, and you're both still there active. It's like wow, this whole journey of 18, 19 years together is like
Yeah.
just phenomenal.
Thank you, and I'm proud of Nicole. She's been through. What I love about Nikki in particular, just because she went through so much with her divorce, and it was so public, and it was so like it was just there was a lot of tension with her and all of that, and it was just very public.
Mhm.
She's not afraid. She's not
Yeah.
afraid to talk about when she makes a mistake in the ring. She's not afraid to say, yeah, my marriage fell apart. She wasn't afraid to say that. She gives other people the courage to say yeah, I failed. It's okay.
Yeah.
I was scared or I made a mistake or this didn't work out, but guess what? I'm going to therapy. I'm learning. I hate that when people just feel crucified over making one little mistake and they feel like the whole world's, turning on them. It's like Nikki was like, guys, I'm human. I'm human. I make mistakes just like you guys. And so I think it's really one of her best qualities is that she allows other people to see that they're human too. Even with her marriage, it's
Mm.
it's not life isn't always perfect, but we get knocked down and we dust ourselves off and we go back to handling our business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more about the book, then I go into rapid fire. So I'm going to bridge this thing into one. Because you mentioned earlier, Divas Championship in 2010, SmackDown Women's Championship in 2017, seven years apart. There's also a part in there where Vince looked at you as the star maker, where like, hey, if you're not going to be my champion, you're going to be the person that can make a champion. So that means getting Michelle McCool to become the first Diva champion, getting Charlotte Flair, and she becomes in the women's Revolution champion. But a very important part was the fact that I did not know was Beth Phoenix wanted you to go in that room to Vince and tell him, hey, listen, put the strap on me, because she wasn't ready. She was still hurt. And to have that confidence to walk in that room and say, hey, listen, put the strap on me at Survivor Series. I never knew that. And like, if I was in that position, I'd be scared shit. But like, how did that moment feel like to tell someone who runs a company, hey, not to sound like you're in it for yourself, but the best idea for now is to put the strap on me because my friend Beth Phoenix is not healthy right now.
That's a great part of the book too. Like I remember Beth saying, like, they wanted to put the title on her and she was not ready. Like she just didn't feel there. She was still coming back from like an ACL injury. I think she was cleared. She was physically cleared, but like in an injury, like you got to also be feeling physically and mentally okay. And I think she was just like, this is too, like she wanted to have a little bit more time off to kind of get her like brain and like mind body connection with her knee right, like more physical therapy. And so she's like, Nattie, like, this is your, go tell Vince that you want to be the champion. Like Beth Phoenix gave me the courage to say, like, just tell him your idea. Like the worst thing that he can say is no. And that was the thing I loved about working for Vince is I could tell Vince an idea that I had and he would always make time. And he would always he listened. He listened. And I know that I won't give away everything in the book, but it took every ounce of my being to ask him to do it. And he gave me his reasons why he didn't want to do it. And suddenly we were doing it. Like it was so, like, again, those are the things I love about Vince is just like, he gave me a chance. He gave me so many chances to prove myself. And I always my big thing with him was I never wanted to let him down. And then I would I would pitch more things to him and he would say, nope, we're not doing it because we're going in this direction or that direction. And then he would do it. I will say, and this is maybe going to sound a little egotistical, but I pitched a bunch of girls matches for WrestleMania that he went with, and it got tons of girls on the show. It was like 3 years in a row that I ended up getting these multi-women matches on the show because I was like, listen, we need more women on the show. Like, and again, like I kind of selfishly wanted to be on the show too. Like, shit, put me on the show. But like, I didn't want my friends getting left out. I was like, I want to have Beth in it, and I want to have Liv in it, and I want to have, let's put Rhea in this. Like, I remember we did this big fatal 4-way tag team match, and it was like something I had pitched, but I was like going into battle over it. I was like, we gotta do this match. And Vince would be like, it doesn't make any sense. And then a week later, it was like, Natalie pitched a match with 8 women.
Whatever.
Exactly. G, any final one before I go to rapid fire with Nattie?
No questions. I'll let you wrap it up. We've kept her long enough.
So great. I loved every bit of this.
No, we appreciate you being here and being so kind and honest with your time. I was just going to say in response to what you had just said about that late 2010 period you talk about in the book, but you talk about winning the Divas title at Survivor Series. Underrated moment, in my opinion, the very next month when Beth is back, but not completely there yet. When you guys teamed up against LayCool, first ever female tables tag team match. Great match. And I thought that was such like a, breaking barrier type match for the Divas division. I thought that was a real gem. Just wanted to point that out there.
Thank you. I thought that was a turning point for me in my career, but it it was a great match, and then the next day there was nothing. So
yeah, that's how it is. I appreciate the honesty because, like you said, so much can change from day to day. That's just how it is. But
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, right.
So one quick thing before I go to rapid fire. The reason why this podcast is called 2 out of 3 Falls it involves the Hart Foundation. One of my favorite tag teams of all time, by the way, and one of my favorite tag team matches was Hart Foundation Demolition from SummerSlam 90. So when me and Graham are 10 years ago trying to find a name for this, I'm like, they got this side, they got that. What about 2 out of 3 Falls? He said, why? I said, because I just saw Hart Foundation Demolition in one of my favorite matches of all time. And then you get Legion
best out of 2. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I got to pick that name. 2 of my favorite tag teams in there. You get LOD. That's why I'm wearing the Hart Foundation jacket today. So big ups to Brett. We love your father, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. It's a legend, Hall of Famer. So I just want to mention that before we wrap up.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that. That's a great story. I'm glad
Mhm.
that the Hart Foundation influenced the name of the show.
There
Full
we
circle.
go. All right, Nattie, here we go. What is Natalya's greatest rival?
Gosh, Charlotte Flair.
Good pick.
Why? Why Charlotte Flair?
Because
Out of everybody, Charlotte Flair.
we had a shitload of matches together. Excuse my language. I've been around way too many
No,
wrestlers.
you're good. Trust me, you're good.
We had so many matches together, and like we always pushed each other to our limits. And I feel like the match that we had in 2014 was a breakout moment for her to show that she could hang with like a veteran, and it was a
Yeah.
breakout moment for me in the company that showed that I could like be everything that they needed me to be and more. But we just had
Mm,
so many great matches together. Like I feel like Charlotte is like a wrestling soulmate for me.
mhm. Um, before a match or while working out, what is some music you're vibing out to?
Tupac. Tupac. I
Really?
like I love Tupac. I'm like a big I mean, listen, I love Smashing Pumpkins. I love
Okay.
Tom Petty. I love Tupac. I will say I am a Swiftie. I love my
Good songs. Good music.
I love my I mean but also I like old country. Like I like Johnny Cash. I like uh, I mean I like Garth Brooks. I like George Strait, but I love my Tupac.
Yeah,
Love my Tupac.
love it.
Shit, I'm just trying to think of who else I like. Tom Petty. I love, like I said, Smashing Pumpkins. I love artists, you know, real art. But
Yeah.
Taylor Swift she just impresses me. Like somebody was like, "Did you listen to her new album?" And I was like, "I'll listen to it in my car." And I was like, "I love every song on the new album." I'm like,
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a damn Swifty. Like I didn't even know I was gonna be a Swifty, and I'm
That's
a
right.
Swifty.
That's amazing.
What is your favorite city / arena to perform in?
Ooh, okay. Favorite city and arena to perform in, hands down, no questions asked. Madison Square Garden, New York.
Oh, I,
I
I figured
it
that.
is my it was my dad's favorite place in the world to wrestle. My dad's ashes, as you guys read in the book, we illegally spread my dad's ashes in
Legally,
right
yeah.
outside of Madison Square Garden. I didn't know that we weren't allowed to dump
Yeah.
or like we're spreading a 300-pound man. We're spreading his
You're right.
ashes. We
Yeah.
found this beautiful we found a beautiful oak tree, and it wasn't far from the arena,
Yeah.
and so I like laid my dad's ashes down there and not realizing that it was totally illegal, you know. So that's in the book, and I'm
Yeah.
so
Mm,
surprised. I'm blown away that we weren't like arrested.
Yeah.
But my
Well, now you
dad
can get arrested
loved
now because now everyone knows it.
exactly.
my dad no, I'm just I wrote about it in the book, but like my dad loved
Yeah.
MSG. He
Yeah.
loved New
Yeah.
York, and so my grandfather was discovered by Toots Mondt in
Mm,
New York, and so my grandfather actually had his first professional match in New York in Madison Square Garden. So
yeah.
I love MSG. It's all New York is just the realest of the real.
Facts. Your favorite match you ever had
Ooh, that's
To
so
date.
hard.
to
I
date?
said like
To date.
to date. I mean, okay. Let me throw this at you. So
Okay.
I had this match against Naomi 2017 SummerSlam. That was one of my favorite matches of my career because Naomi and I just have this incredible chemistry together. But 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 this past year I worked with a girl named Promise Braxton, and
Yeah.
I worked with her in Booker T's promotion for
Yeah.
Reality of Wrestling. And TJ said to me, he goes, "That might be your top three in your career working with her." He goes, she is just she just
Hmm.
had so much fuck you in her that I was like I told her before the match, I walked up to her and I go, "Hey, just so you know, I'm gonna headbutt you, and I'm not really sure when or where I'm gonna do it, but you better be ready." And I mean, I was in the natty zone, and
Yeah.
she brought it right back to me. She was everything the natty character needed and more. And so I was like, damn, like I want to get her to WWE. Promise
Mm,
Braxton. It's my mission because she was fucking awesome.
got
Yeah.
it.
Awesome.
I got two more, and they're on the Mount Rushmore related. So part one is a little easier. But everyone that you work with or had influence on you, who would you pick as your female wrestler Mount Rushmore?
Female wrestler Mount Rushmore. Do I get to put myself in it?
Let's say yes.
Actually, you know what? You know what? Can you guys just tell me no? Say
No.
because
No, actually, you can't.
No.
Yeah. No, you can't put yourself in it because Nattie is the last. In the words of Booker T, she's that Tupac song "Breathing." I'm the last mother effer breathing. I've been here for so long, but we can't put Nattie in it. So if I'm gonna do a Mount Rushmore of women wrestlers, damn. Well,
And they could be your favorite. You could work with them, not work with them, or that influenced you growing up, or whatever. Like just your personal favorite. I would say.
I'm gonna say Beth Phoenix right out of the gate. Beth Phoenix, she just was really ahead of her time. She was just very, very different. And she was an amateur wrestler. She was the only female amateur wrestler in her high school that was in a boys team. So she is amazing and she's very, very underrated. Beth Phoenix, fuck, this is hard. And my Mount Rushmore changes often, by the way. I would say Manami Toyota.
Okay.
Yep, I would say Manami Toyota, Beth Phoenix, wrestler. Just trying to think. There's so many. Oh my gosh. I just in WWE, it's like I don't want to say any of them because then I don't want them to get pissed that I didn't say somebody else.
Yeah.
It's so tough. Man, Beth Phoenix, Manami Toyota,
Would you
Fabi.
put Fabi? Okay.
Fabi Apache?
Fabi.
Yeah. Wow.
Fabi.
Okay.
And you know what?
Yeah,
Shit, I'm gonna throw me into that.
All right, there you go.
Beth Phoenix,
there you go.
Fabi.
That's the Nattie speaking there.
Yeah, this is Nattie speaking. Okay, Natalya says don't be on the list. Nattie says, "Damn it, bitch, put yourself on the list." I'd say Fabi, me, Beth, Manami, Toyota. How about that? That's an arrogant, bitchy little list for everyone.
We like that. We want
Now,
that.
the last one, probably not that easy. You cannot put yourself, Owen, Brett, any Hart member family. All right. But you got to give me your Mount Rushmore of Canadian wrestlers, male or female.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Edge, Christian.
Yeah.
I gotta put Christian. Christian, I fucking love Christian. He's awesome.
Christian's awesome. He's one of my favorites.
Edge, Christian, Chris Jericho.
And one more. It's always the last one that everybody gets stuck on. Like it's easy. 1, 2, 3. Then there's so many out there.
I'll say this. I'll say it's Edge, Christian, Chris Jericho, and I'll say Trish Stratus because Trish Stratus is. I think we need to see a match between Nattie and Trish Stratus, and I don't think Trish Stratus could really hang with Nattie, if that makes sense. So if Trish Stratus if she's got the balls to come and hang with Nattie, then she can let me know. But I would love to see that. So I know she could hang with Natalya and probably beat Natalya pretty easily. But I don't know if Trish has it in her to hang with Nattie. Trish, that's your open challenge.
Throw down the gauntlet.
All right,
that's right. Perfect way to end it.
Was that a good? So yeah, Edge, Christian, Jericho, Trish. How's that?
That's fire. That's a fire for you.
That's a great list.
Sami Zayn, don't get upset. Kevin Owens, don't get upset. Chelsea Green, don't get upset. Who else?
Yes. Well, I mean, listen, I love Sami and I love KO, but like, I don't want to get a text message from Chris Jericho being like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, he belongs there. Come on, makes sense.
That's the Hall of Famer right there.
Yeah.
I love Jericho.
Natalya, Nattie, we definitely appreciate you. We love you. Keep doing the great work that you've been doing for so long. We're very excited for this next chapter with the Nattie character. Can't wait to see it. And we definitely appreciate you, Izzy, and Greg Domino for helping us out today. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Grant
This was
Matthews,
great.
my man, thank you. Always appreciate it. You can follow him at WrestleRant on Twitter. Myself, Randy J. Cruz, RENDY. Letter J CRUZ. Find the podcast on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, also on Amazon Music, and most importantly, YouTube.com/Cruise Control Podcast. Go ahead, download, rate, comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show some love and support for you boys. On the program, for myself, Grant Matthews, and Nattie Neidhart, we out.